Hello, beautiful beings of light. Thank you for joining me today. Here we are. Yesterday I kind of spontaneously decided to do a 21-day live video series. It's not so much a challenge as it's a challenge for me to go live every day for 21 days, but it's more of a series on the light and the dark. And I was inspired because yesterday was December 1st, and we are leading up to a pretty monumental day in human history on the 21st. And yes, it's the winter solstice, it's the change of season. So every year we experience this transition into this season of darkness. And, meanwhile, I love the holidays. It's the season of light in the midst of the dark. It's hope and it's joy and it's light. So I really wanted to speak into these ideas of light and dark, but I also wanted to really get clear on what we actually mean when we say the light, because there's a lot of talk about being the light, shining your light, the light versus dark. And I think for a lot of people, we kind of don't really fully understand what that means, or we lose sight of what that actually means in a tangible way. So, hello, Hermie? I don't know if I'm saying your name right. I apologize if I mispronounce that. Thank you for joining. So getting into the light and what that actually means, I personally think it has a lot to do with our emotional state, our feeling state, our vibrational state. They all go hand in hand. It is thank you. So when we talk about emotional states, every emotion has a particular frequency, a particular vibration, and they've measured this. They've literally measured this. There's a scale of emotions, and at the bottom is this sense of hopelessness, of helplessness, depression. That's actually one of the lowest, if not the lowest, state that you can be in. And then the scale of quote unquote negative emotions, it slowly rises up. Anger is actually a much higher frequency than sadness and despair and helplessness. So once you're shifting into a state of anger, you're actually shifting into more of a sense of power, but power with a sense of control is still a lower vibration. So we have to be really careful about, if we feel the sense of control, that is not necessarily a good thing. Power over is still a much lower vibration than we want to be experiencing. Now at the threshold, which I personally love and find very fascinating, is the state of gratitude. Gratitude is the threshold between the lower, denser, heavier emotions and the higher, more expansive emotions. That's why a gratitude practice is really profoundly important and powerful, because it can literally shift us into those higher states. And that's why a gratitude practice is also really important. These things don't happen overnight. It's just like if we go to a gym to exercise our muscles and build strength, we're not going to miraculously change our body overnight. So if we're talking about changing our lives, changing our emotional state, changing our frequency, that also takes practice. It takes consistent practice. Oh, I love all the hearts. Thanks, guys. So we really have to show up for ourselves day in, day out, and really practice being in that different state of being. We have to be in the being of light and higher, more expansive emotions. So, specifically love and joy and freedom and bliss and what else? There's abundance. All of these are really, really expansive states. Joy. Think about when you were a kid, when you were playing. You just felt like the world was open to you. You were free. You were just living your life in the moment. And, we were very present when we were playing. And I say we're in the past tense, but hopefully you do incorporate play and joy into your life as much as possible. But I really think that that's something that we all need to consciously create more for ourselves, because I think especially as adults, as we grow older, we are kind of burdened with a sense of responsibility, what we should be doing. And that's, I think, largely where we've kind of gotten things wrong a little bit in society. And I, big picture perspective, think a lot of it is it explains why we are in this state that we're in collectively, globally right now. There's a lot that goes into this, and I will kind of tiptoe into all of these ideas over the next few weeks, because there's a lot that we could dive into, but I really want to focus on the light. But that said, the light illuminates the dark, as I was getting into yesterday. So in order to transform, we really do have to face the dark. We have to face the shadows. We have to really go through that darkness, that dark tunnel. The light is on the other side. I promise you it's there. Even if you can't see it, it is there. The light has in fact already won, as I was getting into a little bit yesterday as well. But we do have to choose it. We have to keep taking those steps day in, day out, and we have to go through that darkness. We have to shed the layers that are no longer serving us, and that takes us consciously bringing awareness to those layers, to the dark that exists within us, because we all have shadows, and what I mean by that also, and I'll probably dive into this in a separate video in more depth, but what is the dark? If we're talking about what is the light, what is the dark, it is those heavier, denser emotions. It's the emotional trauma. It's physical trauma as well, but it's the suppressed emotions, the repressed emotions, and it is from our past, what we often just straight up forget our body remembers. But it's also not even just from our own lives. We inherit from not just our personal family down the lines through epigenetics, but it is also literally ancestral trauma going way back to the caveman days. Since the start of humanity, we have been living in this world of polarity and separation. That's what we are here to experience as humans, but we are also here to bridge them together, to bring them back into wholeness, to basically integrate the separation, the duality, to bring it all back together. That is our job over lifetimes, over generations, over the span of humanity. That's what we're here to do as humans. And right now, we are all here. We've been chosen to be here at this very special time in humanity, 2020, the big 2020 show, because we have gone through enough to be able to handle this. We are all here because we can handle it. We were chosen to be here from a galactic spiritual perspective. I heard a fascinating, this isn't something that I received myself personally, but that for each of us here right now, there are roughly 8 billion of us on the planet right now, and the population has been exponentially increasing. For each of us here right now, there were over 1 million other souls who wanted our spot on the earth right now for 2020. And here most of us are like, oh my gosh, the sky is falling, and everything is going kind of crazy from the the earth perspective. Yes, things are crumbling, but that's actually because we are here to create a new paradigm. We are here shifting into a new golden age of light. So this is actually as difficult, as challenging as it is, as painful as it might be for so many of us. I know for a fact it's been a crazy, really difficult year for so many. However, we need for these systems, these structures to fall down, because they're not working for us. They haven't been working for us. So now it's time to create something better, time to step into the golden age of light, of love, of harmony, of peace, and to collectively come together and shift into a paradigm of cooperation instead of competition, because that hasn't been serving us. So we are here to bridge the polarity, to basically transmute fear into love, to the dark into light. And as I was getting into yesterday, that transmutation process, I don't know if that's a word, but this idea of bringing the dark into the light, of looking into the shadows and integrating them and healing them, that actually creates a fuller expression for us to be even more whole and complete. And it's us, it's the light becoming brighter and more vibrant, and a wholer sense, a fuller spectrum. That's the word I was looking for when it comes to light. A fuller spectrum of light, like colors that we can't even imagine. We, if we see like light go through a glass, a prism, we see this beautiful rainbow. I've been seeing rainbows a lot lately myself. It's very 5D. So anyway, there are colors out there that we don't even see currently. There's so much more vibrancy to life that we can't even fathom, because we are stuck especially when we're in the state of fear, these lower, denser emotions, we're stuck in this state of tunnel vision. We cannot see possibility, and that's why it's so hard to heal. That's why it's so hard to transform. That's why it's so hard to change our lives when we are living in fear. And that's what the collective is experiencing right now, which is why we really have to step up and shine brighter than ever, because humanity needs us. Every person in your individual life needs you to step into your power, to step into your light. So the light is, again, this emotional state, this state of feeling your emotional frequency. So shifting into gratitude, and then using that gratitude to shift you into these expansive states of love and joy and bliss and harmony and abundance. So standing in that, it means you are reclaiming your power, because we are powerful beings. We are here to shine our light and to be our fullest expression. So the light is also this sense of, to bring it back into the spiritual, I wanted to ground it down in a kind of practical way, but also from the spiritual perspective, the light is truth. The light is source. We are all light beings having a physical experience here on this planet. And, it basically, it's a return to our divine state of light. Our natural state is divine. It is light. And yes, it's this hope, it's this faith, it's this joy, this expansion, this freedom. But it is truth. It is a state of grace. So it's something practical, but it's also something so much bigger than what our physical beings tend to experience. The way I see it, it's the spark of the divine that lives within all of us. It's often just like buried, it's hidden under the shadows of our darkness, of our personal darkness, of our fears, our repressed emotions, the pain, the suffering that we experience in life. It's from a past that's often very, very long forgotten, if it's not even in our own personal lives, as I was getting to. It's so long forgotten that it's literally not even from our lifetime, but we carry it deep in our tissues, deep in our cells, deep in our DNA. It's literally wound into our DNA. This fear, this anger, this hurt, this pain, this suffering, going back all the way to our ancestors, it's literally wound into our DNA. So our job now is to heal that, to release it from our DNA, so that we shift our timelines, so that we create a new version of humanity, beings that are grounded in the light rather than in the fear and the heavy, dense emotions, grounded in the light so that we can be free and so that we can live fully and beautifully. So the light also is love. The light is love. It all comes back to love. So the basis of life is love. It's the source of creation. It's a force of attraction, basically like holding atoms and molecules together. It's like the energetic force, it's a gravitational pull. It all comes back to love, in my opinion. So the light is also, it's like the spark within us. It's the life force, the prana, the chi, whatever you want to call it. It is this inner fire. And I just think that going back to that, the light is this life force. We have been shutting down our life force by turning down the dial on our light. And, turning away from life every time we choose to turn down that dial of our fullest expression and our truest joys and passions. When we turn down the dial of passion and what lights us up, we are turning down the dial on life itself, because the light is life. So, just going back, it's love. It's what compels us to grow. It's what compels us to expand. And repairing this disconnection, this sense of separation, is our job right now. That is what it means to step into the light, is to go through the dark, to release what's holding us back from being our fullest, truest expressions of ourselves. The light is our personal truth. It's what we know to be true. It's about tapping into your intuition, into that inner core being that knows what's right and true and good, and allowing that to lead, allowing love to lead. It's allowing you to step into this state of expansion and freedom that lights you up and fuels your fire, ignites your passions. You being lit up is you being the light. So you living your life is you being the light. So that's basically how I see it. Light is truth. It is the truth of who we are. Shining your light means basically living your life and being the fullest, brightest, most beautiful expression of you. So that is what I wanted to share today. What is the light exactly? The light is you living your life. It is you being your fullest expression of you. It is you stepping into your power. It is you reclaiming your power. And it is remembering who you really are, which is basically a spark of the divine. So I will leave you with that today. And I will be sharing more in the coming weeks. So please do tune in. This came to me spur of the moment yesterday, and thanks for the hearts. I really didn't plan this logistically too much, so I'm thinking like 4 or 5 p.m. I just kind of have to look at my schedule and see what makes the most sense for me, but I will be tuning in daily. I will be uploading them to YouTube as well if you can't make it live, so this will be up on YouTube as soon as it's buffered and all that kind of fun stuff. So if you can't make it live, definitely tune in on YouTube, because we really need more and more people showing up, shining bright, and helping others around us to rediscover their truth, their light, their passion, their purpose. And doing that deeper inner work, it is not easy. It is literally the hardest thing we can do in our lives, but we've been called here to do this now at this time. This point in humanity needs us to show up and do this work. So thank you for showing up. Thank you for being here. Thank you for shining your light. This is Amanda Kelly with this art called Life. If you have any questions, comments, absolutely feel free to reach out to me. I also do have a course, Rise with Resilience. It is linked in my bio, and it is, or in the comments, however you're seeing this video. It basically is all the tools I used to help myself heal, to help myself bounce back after cancer while I was going through treatment as well. What helped me ground down and reclaim my power, and tools that I have used, but I basically, with clients, and it's not just me that has benefited, but what I did was it took me years of trial and error and going through, trying that, researching that, looking for that. And so basically I tried to pull it all together into one resource. So that is available. It is super accessible because I want it to be accessible for everybody. So it will basically help you ground in your light, ground in your anchor in your light more fully, more completely. It will help you build that foundation so that you can rise with resilience and shine bright and help other people do so in turn. So sending you so much light and love, guys. This is Amanda Kelly with this art called Life, and I will tune in with you tomorrow. Keep shining bright, guys. Thank you so much for being you.